Hi, I'm Nate Savage, and welcome to video 4 of the Blues Guitar Quick Start series. So far throughout the series, we've been really focusing on learning the 12-bar blues progression and applying our power chords and dominant 7th chords to that progression. It's important that you learn how to dress up your rhythm blues guitar playing, and one way to do that is through blues riffs. In this lesson, we're going to learn the most basic blues riff, and in the next lesson, we're going to dress that riff up even more. Now, for this basic blues riff, we're going to be learning there's quite a bit of stretching involved, so don't feel bad if you can't get it right away. Just know that it may take some work to get that stretching down. What we're basically going to be doing is outlining the chords throughout the 12-bar blues progression with this riff, and we're going to be applying a heavy shuffle rhythm to this riff too, so keep that in mind. We're also going to be introducing some muting to give your style a bit more of a bluesy sound. Let's just jump right into this. So in our 12-bar blues progression, the first 4 measures are over a 1 chord. So we need to learn this riff that goes over the 1 chord. And it's pretty simple. You're going to start off with just an E power chord, and you're going to play that twice with a swung feel. That's it. The next little half of this riff, you're going to leave your index finger where it is, and then come down on the 4th fret of that A string right there. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to play 2 swung 8th notes. And believe it or not, that's basically the entire riff. You're just going to repeat it over and over again. So the whole little chunk is this. So that takes up only 2 beats. So in order to get a whole measure for this riff, we have to play that thing twice, and that'll take up 1 measure in the 12-bar blues, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So if that takes up 1 measure, we have 4 measures of the 1 chord. So do a little bit of math. You're going to find out that you have to play that 8 times to fit over 4 measures of the 1 chord for the first 4 bars of the 12-bar blues riff. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... All right, now the 12-bar blues riff switches to the 4 chord. In this case, that's an A chord, right? So we need to kind of adapt this riff to play over our A chord. We're going to do the exact same thing. Just make an A power chord, index finger, first finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. And you're going to play just the 5th and 4th strings. Same exact thing, so 2 swung 8th notes there. Then you're going to come down on the 4th fret of the D string. And again, play 2 more swung 8th notes. And that's your basic riff over the A chord. And again, we have to play that twice to fill up 1 measure. So if we have 2 bars of A, we're going to have to play this 4 times. Now we have 2 more measures of the 1 chord. So we're going to go back to the riff over the E chord and play that for 2 more measures or 4 times. And here is where the stretching part comes in that I was talking about. When we go to the 5 chord, the B chord, what we're going to have to do is make a B power chord. But because of the stretch that's coming up, we have to make it with your 1st and 2nd fingers instead of your 1st and 3rd fingers. So 1st finger on the B note there on the 2nd fret of the A string, and your 2nd finger on the 4th fret of the D string. And that's going to be your first 2 swung 8th notes over the bar of B. From there, here's the stretch. You have to stretch your pinky all the way up to the 6th fret for the next 2 swung 8th notes. So that may take a while to get that stretch down, but just work on going between those 2 8th notes and these 2. So that's your riff over the B. You only have to do it twice because we only have 1 measure of the 5 chord here. Now we have a measure of the 4 chord, so go back to your A riff and play 1 measure of that. Then go back to the 1 chord for 1 measure. And finally, we end up on the 5 chord for 1 measure. So get that B power chord on there, again with your 1st and 2nd fingers. And you're going to stretch all the way up again with your pinky and play that for 1 measure. So here is what that rhythm riff will sound like with one of the jam tracks. That's the most basic 12-bar blues riff that we're going to learn. One thing that you can add to this to kind of dress it up and give it a little more style is some muting. So if you have just your regular swung eighth notes, you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And what you can do is kind of divide this up by the beat. You have 2 notes on each beat, right? You can mute the first one or cut it short. So what I did is just hit the strings and then come down and mute them right after I hit them. And then the second note in the 2 eighth notes is just normal. And if you do that over and over again, muting just the numbers, the 1, 2, 3, 4, you end up with this. And my fretting hand is also helping out too, to mute the strings. So work on that, get that style down, and then you can apply the entire thing to the 12-bar blues. It might sound like this. Hopefully you see how learning this really simple 12-bar blues riff kind of dresses up your rhythm blues playing and gives the 12-bar blues a little more forward momentum. Like I said, this is the most basic version of this rhythm riff that we're going to learn, but it's really important that you get it down because it's the foundation for the rhythm riff that we're going to learn later too. Slow this down, practice it as much as you need to until you start to feel comfortable with it. Then you can pull up either the jam track, 70 beats per minute, or the 100 beats per minute, and then try to play along with that too. Thanks for watching. In the next lesson, we're going to dress this 12-bar blues riff up and make it a little more interesting for you. If you have any questions, you can leave them here in the comments or just email me, Nate@guitarsystem.com. See ya.